Dream knows the kindly ones, aka the Furies, are coming for him, and this time, he's actually trying to avoid getting completely wiped out. He's been through a lot, and after causing his son's death, these ancient, vengeful beings are officially on his tail. First stop, his elder brother, Destiny. You'd think all-knowing Destiny would have the answers in his giant book, right? Nope. Turns out, even cosmic beings have limitations. Destiny's wisdom is tied to time and action, and the question of Dream's fate needs to be put directly to the kindly ones themselves. Next, Dream tries to butter up the fates. Maiden, Mother, Crone. He brings them gifts, wine, herbs, even a polecat. Classy. But they're not fooled. They basically tell him, look, we can't act unless someone asks us to. Dream, ever the hopeful one, asks what happens if no one petitions them. Their response? A chilling reminder that he has a very long list of enemies just waiting to throw him under the bus, including Lucifer Morningstar, his sister Desire, and even Calliope. His goose is cooked, it's just a matter of time. Feeling desperate, Dream calls in a favor from Loki, the trickster god he helped escape from Odin's prison earlier. Loki's currently having a grand old time with his new boyfriend, Puck, pulling off some truly progressive mischievousness. Imagine Loki as the Pope welcoming women priests, and Puck as a cardinal aiding him. Hilarious, right? Dream, not one to fall for cheap tricks, quickly reminds Loki of their deal. Loki immediately figures out Dream desperately needs his help with the Furies. But here's the kicker. Loki, true to his chaotic nature, warns Dream not to trust him, and even suggests Dream release him from their bargain. Dream, however, has a secret plan of his own. But wait, there's a major twist. Puck, absolutely not thrilled about Dream exercising control over them, whispers some truly terrible advice into Loki's ear. Instead of doing what Dream eventually asks in a few days, when Dream actually needs it, they should do it now. This premature action would serve to set the kindly ones on Dream even faster. The story then brings back some familiar faces, tying everything together. Remember Alex Burgess, the son of the guy who imprisoned Dream for a century? Well, Rosewalker's grandmother, Unity Kincaid, bought his mansion and turned it into a care home. Now that Unity's passed, Rosewalker owns it. Alex, still in a magical coma since Dream escaped, is there, with his loyal lover Paul by his side. Paul invites Rose and Lyda, Daniel's mom, to stay, and though they don't plan to settle, they decide to spend a few days there. Perfect opportunity for Puck, disguised as an attendant named Simon, to sneak in and snatch Daniel. Back in the dreaming, everyone, Mervyn, Lucienne, Matthew, Gilbert, Nuala, is gearing up to defend their home from the kindly ones. But Dream tells them not to. He's found his replacement in Daniel Hall and seems resigned, almost eager for his own demise, as if it's a sacrifice to finally be free. Nuala is understandably confused, asking why he's given up. Dream simply says that even he, an Endless, must obey the old laws. This is where Nuala pushes back, asking who decreed these old laws. Her question directly leads Dream to visit his ultimate parents, Time and Night, the original beings from before creation itself. He's desperately hoping to find a loophole in these old laws. Time is a super distant, almost cold figure. He's totally unsentimental and basically scoffs at Dream's act of mercy killing his son, calling it a, quote, foolish errand. Time sees all causality, past, present, and future, so emotions just don't compute for him. He can't help Dream change the laws, and even warns him that trying to alter the past won't change the outcome of the future. Talk about a buzzkill. Night, surprisingly, seems a bit gentler, tending her garden, but she's just as emotionally detached from her children. She offers Dream a way out. He could stay in her realm and evade the Furies, but Dream politely declines, loyal to his own realm. The takeaway here, the Endless have some serious family issues. Despite Dream's orders, Nuala and the others start training for defense. Then, her jerk of a brother Cluracan shows up from Fairy. Remember, he practically gifted Nuala to Dream on Queen Titania's orders. Now that news of Dream's impending doom is out, Titania wants Nuala back. But Nuala's got a bone to pick with both of them, and refuses to go. Dream, emotionally exhausted from his parental visits, doesn't want anyone else to suffer for him, so he agrees to let Nuala go, much to her disappointment. She actually wants to help him. Before she leaves, Dream gives her a special amulet, a literal call me anytime button that can summon him for a favor. He tells his other confidants to leave too, but they all refuse to abandon him. Lucienne, ever empathetic, shares a quiet moment with Dream, feeling for his strained family life. Meanwhile, Lyda and Rose are out enjoying dinner when Puck makes his move, snatching baby Daniel. Mad Hetty, a prophetic old woman, drops a cryptic warning to Lyda about Daniel the prophet and interpreting dreams, foreshadowing the boy's destiny. But it's too late. By the time Lyda and Rose get back to the mansion, Daniel is gone, reunited with Loki. Nuala and her annoying brother Cluracan finally make it back to the edge of the mortal world and Fairy. Cluracan, trying to keep Queen Titania from throwing a royal tantrum, glamours Nuala to make her look more presentable, even though she never needed it while living in the dreaming. Naturally, Nuala's pissed. And rightfully so. When they get to Fairy, Titania greets Nuala, but get this, she's not worried about Nuala's well-being at all. Her main concern, whether Morpheus, who used to be her lover apparently, still thinks about her. Nuala, bless her heart, was hoping to ask Titania for an army to help Dream, but Titania gets totally obsessed with the amulet Morpheus gifted Nuala. She's so wrapped up in her own self-indulgent thoughts and the shiny new trinket that Nuala can't even get a serious word in edgewise. This obsession with the amulet is a huge red flag, especially since it can summon Dream anywhere outside his realm. Talk about a potential disaster waiting to happen. Our main man Morpheus, getting pretty desperate about the future of his realm, slips off to his sister Despair's gloomy domain, the Grey Realm. After some catching up, Dream mentions his chosen successor Daniel Hall, and Despair looks genuinely surprised, recognizing the name. Looking out one of her windows, the two endless siblings see Lyta Hall's current predicament. Lyta's pure desperation after her child was abducted has literally drawn Despair's attention. This is how Morpheus finally learns about Loki's betrayal. Loki and Puck disguises themselves as Detectives Pinkerton and Fellows, so shady, to approach Lyta. They then craftily frame Dream by leaving sand, Dream's signature element, where Daniel was abducted. Lyta, who already had suspicions about Dream, now completely believes he took her son. Yikes! Unable to find Daniel in the dreaming, Dream plans to head to the waking world, because Daniel, as his future successor, is incredibly important. But Lucienne begs him not to go. Endless beings are basically invincible as long as they stay in their own realms, but out in the messy mortal world, they're vulnerable. She suggests he at least bring backup. Dream decides to enlist Johanna Constantine's help. In exchange for her assistance in finding Daniel, he gives her the journal of her ancestor, Lady Johanna Constantine. Dream thinks Lady Johanna's intense love for Orpheus is reflected in Constantine's own hidden longing for companionship. Johanna, being Johanna, denies these feelings, as her self-loathing makes it hard for her to admit such a thing. Anyway, Johanna takes Morpheus to the Burgess mansion to start the investigation, completely ignoring his reluctance to face Lyta, who already thinks he's the culprit. At the mansion, Dream meets Alex Burgess, still in his eternal sleep. Alex's lover Paul begs Dream to release him from his misery, but Dream, still holding onto that old grudge from his century of imprisonment, refuses. Lyta confronts Dream and accuses him outright of kidnapping Daniel. After all, he did lay claim to the child way back when. Dream tries to explain that he's not behind it, but Lyta doesn't buy it. Constantine figures out that Dream is actually to blame for Alex and Lyta's predicaments. She tells him to make peace with them. When Dream refuses, Constantine lays it bare. She believes Dream wants to be punished by those who hate him, as a way to seek redemption for killing his own son, Orpheus. She then tells him, straight up, to go back to the dreaming and ditch this suicide mission if he wants her to continue helping. Talk about a reality check. Later, in her grief, Lyta is visited by the Fates. And here's where it gets wild. They call her granddaughter. For comic fans, that checks out. Lyta's mother is Wonder Woman, Diana, and Diana is basically a daughter to the gods. So by extension, Lyta shares ancient blood with the Fates. They give her cryptic clues about Daniel's fate, and hint that Loki and Puck are behind everything. Lyta doesn't fully understand, but the pieces are falling into place. Constantine's blunt words clearly hit home, making Dream reconsider his past actions. He goes to his old friend Hob Gadling for one last bit of counsel. Hob has recently lost his partner, Audrey Dalton, and Dream finally realizes he's wronged Hob too, by essentially making him immortal as a, quote, human experiment. Hob, however, takes accountability for his own fate, pointing out he chose eternal life. Upon learning of Dream's troubles, Hob assures him it's never too late to fix mistakes. This conversation gives Dream a crucial moment of clarity. After this talk, Dream returns to the dreaming, and, in a significant act of atonement, finally frees Alex Burgess from his eternal sleep. Alex wakes up in the mortal world, and is tearfully reunited with Paul, relieved that his long punishment is finally over. On the other side of things, Puck has actually become quite attached to Daniel, which is unexpected for a trickster. Loki, however, whose own family history has brought him nothing but pain, he mentions his 6 kids, like the Midgard serpent Jormungandr, who'll bring Ragnarok, and Fenrir the wolf, among others, and how Odin used them against him, sees Daniel only as a pawn in their game to thwart Dream. Given his past, Loki can't afford to be sentimental about the child like Puck has suddenly become. Fearing Loki's intentions, Puck tries to flee with Daniel, and, by chance, crosses paths with Dream. Puck offers to hand Daniel over to his mother if Dream agrees to free Loki from the one remaining favor he owes him. Morpheus agrees to this, but plot twist, it's Loki disguised as Dream. Testing Puck? Despite Puck's attempt to betray him, Loki seems almost touched, realizing Puck actually cares about him. Loki takes Puck and Daniel back to his place, promising not to use Daniel as a pawn anymore. But the moment Puck lets his guard down, Loki uses fairy dust to knock him out. Then, fulfilling the very prophecy the fates whispered to Lyta, he throws Daniel into the fire. To twist the knife even further, Loki disguises himself as one of the detectives and shows Lyta a photo of the charred remains. She believes it. Her baby is gone. I don't think he's dead, though. To give Johanna much-needed assistance in her investigation, Morpheus recreates the Corinthian, the terrifying nightmare who tried to destroy him in the first season. Lucienne is understandably skeptical about this decision, but Dream is confident that this new Corinthian won't make the same mistakes as his past self. What could possibly go wrong, right? Lyta might have been completely duped by Detective Pinkerton, who was, of course, Loki. But thankfully, someone else on the scene isn't as easily fooled. Mrs. Shore, an attendant at the care home, smells a rat. Loki's weird statements about where Daniel was found just don't sit right with her. She's smart enough to follow Loki, and that's when she uncovers his true, trickster identity. Unfortunately for her, Loki isn't one to leave witnesses. He burns her to death. And guess what? The god of mischief was totally lying to Lyta about her son's demise. Loki actually burned the humanity out of Daniel. This isn't about killing him, but transforming him, much like the goddess Demeter tried to make Prince Dimophan immortal by purging his human essence. Just as Puck is shaking off his fairy dust-induced slumber, he sees Loki bringing a reborn Daniel out of the ashes of his burnt mortal form. Loki is just beaming, declaring that Daniel's transformation has turned him into a proper Dream Lord, worthy to take over from Morpheus. While it becomes clear Loki didn't intend to kill Daniel, Puck is absolutely furious about the deception, and storms off, abandoning his, now very twisted lover. Lyta is in the depths of despair, mourning her dead son, and asking Rose to leave her alone. That's when Mad Hetty appears. She has been doing odd jobs for the Fates in exchange for her unnaturally long life, and now she's here on their behalf to bring Lyta to them. Hetty, seeing Lyta's raw grief, conveniently swears vengeance upon those responsible for her son's death. A grieving Lyta is an easy target, and she readily follows Hetty. This whole situation just screams manipulation. The Fates are pulling strings, and Lyta is their unsuspecting puppet. Dream then tasks the Corinthian to help Constantine in the search for Daniel Hall. Predictably, both Matthew and Lucienne, and even Constantine herself, are incredibly wary of trusting the Corinthian, given his first iteration was a psychopathic serial killer with a taste for eyeballs. I mean, fair enough, right? Who'd trust a guy like that? However, Dream gives Constantine an eagle stone, a piece of his own essence that will instantly uncreate Corinthian if he ever poses a threat. As Corinthian tries to win Constantine's trust, an unexpected budding romance seems to spark between the duo. Seriously? A psychopathic nightmare and a jaded detective? Only in Sandman. Anyway, to find out about Loki, Constantine initially plans on performing a summoning ritual for Allfather Odin using alcohol. But the Corinthian stops her. Constantine then casts a guiding spell to find Loki's latest victim, Mrs. Shore. Unbeknownst to them, Odin has already been summoned and is now following them. Oh, this is not going to end well for Loki. Dream feels caged inside his realm, unable to leave, and following Lucien's advice, he tries to attend to the regular affairs of the dreaming. So he visits Fiddler's Green, who gently reminds him, he's changed, he's softened, he's trying, even mercy-killing Orpheus. It wasn't cruelty. It was love and sacrifice. It's a beautiful moment of reflection, showing how much Dream has truly grown from the rigid, self-righteous being he once was. Corinthian gets a hit on Loki by eating Mrs. Shore's eyes. Classic him. They track Loki to a hotel, where Puck, still hurt, gives them the location out of spite. Loki tries to pull a fast one, using illusions and tricks, but Corinthian sees right through him and beats him down. Just when he's about to take his signature eyeball tax, Odin and Thor crash in to take Loki captive. The Allfather dramatically declares that putting Loki back in his prison will be a worse fate than death. And as a parting shot, he tells Corinthian that he's not angry at Dream, because Dream's end is coming either way. Might as well let him go out in peace. As for Daniel, Dream had asked Corinthian to bring him back to dreaming, but Constantine insists they take him to Lyta instead, like she promised. Corinthian agrees to hand Daniel over after a moment's hesitation, showing a surprisingly naive, almost innocent side of himself, which completely surprises Constantine. She then agrees to let him take Daniel to dreaming after all. It's obvious these two have grown fond of each other, despite their bizarre origins, but Constantine is clearly too broken to ever fully commit to feelings for anyone. A bittersweet realization. Delirium is having a tough time. She's lost Barnabas, the talking dog companion of destruction, whom her prodigal brother entrusted to her. She goes to seek Destiny's counsel, wondering if she should even ask Morpheus for help. Destiny, true to fashion, gives her nothing but riddles. But then, at one point, Delirium sees two destinies present in front of her. A news that lights up Dream's face when she tells him. Multiple destinies imply multiple possibilities, which means there is no certain and definite future that dictates Dream must die. It's the first real glimmer of hope Dream has had in ages, a truly seismic shift in his understanding of fate. Dream summons Goldie the Gargoyle, assigning him as Delirium's companion during her search for Barnabas in the waking world. As Delirium parts ways with her elder brother, for what might be the final time, she holds on to that hope, wishing to see him again. Hetty creates a protection barrier and begins her ritual to transport Lyda's consciousness to the Fates' place. The Furies are so shady, mentioning that while they can't avenge her son directly, Lyda can sick them on Morpheus for his crime of filicide, killing his own son, which is punishable by death according to the old laws. A vengeance-fueled Lyda agrees without hesitation to become the avatar of the Furies, ready to unleash them upon the Dreaming to take down Morpheus. Nuala's plan to send an army to help Morpheus falls apart. Worse, her brother Cluracan steals the amulet Dream gave her, the one that can summon him, and gives it to Titania, who's obsessed with it. Nuala tries to get it back, but she has foolishly told her brother what it does. Titania, ever self-centered, assumes she'll be able to keep Dream safe at Fairy, and ends up actually summoning him. Oh, Nuala, no! This is the absolute worst timing. This proves to be a grave mistake. As in Dream's sudden absence, the Dreaming is in its most vulnerable state, and can be attacked. And just like that, the brief hope ignited by Delirium seeing multiple destinies is crushed. Only one version of Destiny is seen present in Destiny's Garden, proving that once again, everything has boiled down to one single, inevitable outcome. Fate, it seems, has a cruel sense of humor, or perhaps just an unshakable will. This becomes horrifyingly apparent as the Furies, led by a vengeful Lyda Hall, confront Fiddler's Green in the Dreaming. Lyda, wielding a sword, brutally kills the poor guy by driving it into his heart. First blood is drawn. The war has begun, and more denizens of Dreaming will perish in the wrath of the Furies, unless Morpheus is able to accept the inevitable and protect his realm, or perhaps sacrifice himself. Lyda finally kills Abel, and this time, it's permanent. The kindly ones made sure of that, and in the split second, when her sword is lodged, she starts to realize that maybe, just maybe, the witches have been playing her, twisting her grief and rage over Daniel to push their own agenda, ending Morpheus. But the break doesn't last. The witches pull her right back under, and Lyda turns back into their mind-controlled hitwoman. She and the Furies then confront Merv Pumpkinhead, who, in an iconic moment of pure awesomeness, greets them with "What a machine gun." But Merv's heroism is tragically short-lived. The Furies effortlessly reverse the trajectory of his bullets, sending them right back at him and turning Morpheus's beloved janitor into, well, pumpkin juice. Matthew rushes back to the castle to warn Cain and Lucienne about the witch's devastating arrival. The Corinthian gets there just in time with Daniel too. With Morpheus nowhere to be seen, his loyal crew is in a desperate state, unsure how much time they have left before Lyda completely obliterates their home. Speaking of Morpheus, he's still stuck in Fairy. He can't leave until he grants a boon to Nuala. In a moment of true selflessness and unexpected foresight, makes a brilliant wish. She asks Morpheus to return to his realm so he can protect it. This clever move not only fulfills their contract, but also frees the Dream King to go back to the Dreaming when he's needed most. It's a fantastic resolution to that subplot, turning Nuala's seemingly simple wish into a lifeline for the Dreaming. In the time it takes for Morpheus to return to his castle, Lyda and the kindly ones have already arrived at his doorstep. The gatekeepers bravely tell them to back off, with the hippogriff even stepping down to block the entrance. So the kindly ones, with their usual brutal efficiency, decide to accelerate her aging. As the majestic hippogriff is on the brink of death, Morpheus dramatically appears and heals her. He's back, and he's not here to fight, he's here to talk. He invites the kindly ones inside, but the witches are having none of it. They loudly proclaim they aren't going anywhere until Morpheus has been killed by Lyda. It doesn't take long for Lyda to realize Daniel is alive. Morpheus, quick to seize the opportunity, tries to wake Lyda from the trance Hetty has put her in and break the witch's spell on her mind. And for a precious moment, it works. Lyda and the witches disappear from the Dreaming for a short while, giving everyone a brief reprieve. To make sure it's permanent, Morpheus goes to Hetty's flat, with the intention of killing Lyda in her sleep, but he notices the protective circle Lyda is in. He tells Hetty he can kill Lyda without even touching the circle. Hetty knows he can, but she also knows something deeper. Morpheus isn't a killer. Yes, he killed Orpheus, but that was mercy. And if Daniel finds out Dream killed his mother, he might never accept his fate as the next Dream. This is a pivotal moment for Dream's character arc. He's genuinely changed. His past self would likely have gone through with it. He returns to the Dreaming with grim acceptance. There's no escaping his fate, not after killing family. He tells Cain, Corinthian, Lucienne, and Matthew he's heading to the edge of the Dreaming to meet the witches, far away, where they can't destroy what's left. He's already spoken with Daniel. The eagle stone around Daniel's neck will protect the Dreaming once Dream is gone. With that, Morpheus sends everyone except Matthew, who, bless his loyal heart, insists on staying by his friend's side until the very end, to the throne room, and then he quietly goes off to meet the witches. Lucienne tries to keep an eye on Morpheus via a crystal ball, but it doesn't work until Daniel touches it. Although the trio is doubtful about whether Daniel will truly be able to become the next dream, this little moment clearly proves he is truly powerful, even as an infant. Since he's still an infant, he doesn't manage to use the orb correctly. Fearing Daniel will accidentally do something unintended, Corinthian gently takes it off his hands and places it to the side. He tries to keep Daniel distracted, but the atmosphere in the room becomes impossibly tense as death enters the scene. Cain, Lucien, and Corinthian were holding on to a desperate hope for Morpheus's return, but death's arrival cements the fact. This is the end for him. Nuala seems to sense that Morpheus's time is coming to an end. She requests Cluracan to remove her glamour so that she can return to the dreaming to serve Morpheus. Cluracan tries to stop her, suddenly acting like he cares. But where was all this loyalty when he abandoned her on Titania's orders? Exactly. Still, he lifts the spell, and Nuala races to the fairy portal, only to find Titania and her warriors guarding it. For a moment, it looks like Titania might cut her down. Instead, she hands Nuala her sword, letting her pass. A moment of genuine grace from Titania, surprisingly. Morpheus makes one last desperate bid to dissuade the witches from puppeteering Lyta into destroying the dreaming, but they stubbornly refuse to stand down. Hence, Morpheus requests of Matthew that he fly back to the castle and tell Death to come to him. It's a pretty heartbreaking scene. Matthew realizes Morpheus is about to sacrifice himself to save his realm, and he doesn't want to be around to see it. Matthew reluctantly goes to the castle and passes on Morpheus's message to Death. Death joins Morpheus to have one last, quiet conversation with him. It basically boils down to Morpheus being tired and wants it to end. Losing Orpheus broke something in him, and while he felt it was the right thing to do, it left him hollow. The dreaming needs someone new, someone whole, to keep evolving. Their emotional farewell is interrupted by the witches, reminding Morpheus that Light is still out there wrecking everything. It annoys Death, but it also pushes them to stop delaying. And then, just like that, Morpheus is gone. Nuala re-enters Morpheus's realm, and she spots Lyta furiously splitting the land in two and destroying the castle. She bravely charges towards Lyta and chops off her head. No, Lyta isn't dead. She just immediately wakes up from her slumber in her bed, the spell broken. As she looks around the room, she sees that Hetty is gone. Where's she? Well, she's outside, walking her dogs, one of whom is Barnabas, who is finally reunited with Delirium after 2 long weeks. Delirium learns from Hetty that Morpheus has died. I think Delirium already knew that when Goldie, the gargoyle, disappeared right before her eyes, Hetty just confirmed what Delirium already sensed. Hetty returns to her room, where Lyta is still processing everything that has just transpired. Just in case it's not clear to her, Hetty bluntly tells Lyta that she has been instrumental to Morpheus's death. Yes, Morpheus killed Orpheus, and he was fated to die for it. But she sped up the whole process and now she can't get her son back. Now the witches are gone. Daniel is gone. And Lyta is left alone, with nothing but grief, guilt, and the ruins of her revenge. Maybe she'll find Rose again. Maybe she'll get the help she needs. But the war is over. Daniel transforms from a baby into an adult, thereby taking on his rightful role as the new dream. The cycle continues. A new lord for the dreaming rises from the ashes of the old. Enjoying the ride so far? Show some love with a like, and tap that sub button for more. The series finale of The Sandman kicks off with the residents of the dreaming in deep grief over Morpheus's passing. It's a somber atmosphere, and many of them, particularly the old guard, are having a tough time accepting Daniel as their new dream lord. It's like losing your beloved, eccentric boss and suddenly having a new, mysterious kid take over. However, Corinthian 2.0, the reformed nightmare we've come to, tolerate, offers some much-needed sympathy. Why? Because Daniel has actual fragments of Morpheus within him, making him a walking, talking legacy. It's a neat way to show that Morpheus isn't truly gone, but rather transformed. Cain immediately barks orders at Daniel to revive Abel. Daniel, already asserting his authority, reminds Cain of his place, but then, with surprising ease, brings Abel back to life, proving he's got the power, even if he's still figuring things out. Daniel then humbly asks for Lucien's guidance, as he's not actually supposed to attend Morpheus's own funeral. A heartbroken Lucien, still reeling from Morpheus's death, apologetically suggests he find a replacement mentor. She's just not ready to commit to a new Dream Lord yet. Understandable. Her loyalty to Morpheus ran deep. As Lucien leaves to welcome the funeral guests, we see some familiar faces. Johanna Constantine, Alex Burgess, and Hob Gadling. Hob is completely unable to accept Morpheus's passing, a poignant moment given their centuries-long friendship. He finds solace in Lucien, who also hasn't fully accepted Daniel as her new dream. It's interesting how grief can forge new bonds, even among cosmic beings and immortal humans. Corinthian approaches Johanna, who, in typical fashion, would rather talk about the deceased Morpheus than the unsettling nightmare standing in front of her. He genuinely shares that he's different, because Morpheus himself was different when he recreated him. He admits he feels alone now, and looks to Johanna for comfort. Nuala is afraid the Fae may force her to return to Titania's realm. But Cluracan, showing a surprising turnaround, assures her that the dreaming is now truly her home. A small moment of brotherly kindness after so much past manipulation. Among the other notable funeral guests are Titania herself, Calliope, Puck, Lord Susano, and Nada, a true who's who of Dream's complicated past. Daniel, determined to embrace his new role, immediately starts rebuilding. He brings back Merv Pumpkinhead and Gilbert, the personification of Fiddler's Green, hoping to find mentors in them. Merv doesn't know much beyond janitorial duties. But Gilbert offers some profound advice as Daniel contemplates his existence. He asks to be erased again. He tells Daniel that change is a good thing, something to be embraced, not reversed. He states that it's endings, after all, that give stories their meaning. This is a hugely insightful moment, echoing Death's earlier wisdom and setting the stage for Daniel's own reign. Gilbert also assures Daniel that he will be a good dream, a vital vote of confidence for the nervous new lord. The endless siblings arrive for the funeral. Predictably, Destruction is missing, as usual. However, in a secret, poignant moment, he is present, visiting Daniel unseen by the others. The new dream instantly remembers him, a testament to his innate connection to the Endless family. He looks to Destruction for help, confessing that he doesn't know what to do, and isn't ready. Destruction confides in him that the Endless know everything, because that's who they are. He assures Daniel that he will figure it out eventually. Each of the Endless gives a speech, expressing how much they miss Morpheus, and wishing they had a better relationship with him. They're also genuinely glad that they saw him change for the better in his final days. Lucienne, speaking on behalf of all the subjects of the dreaming, delivers a touching tribute, emphasizing how Morpheus is a part of everyone, residing in their dreams and hopes. Before Destruction quietly leaves, he gives Daniel a coin. He explains that the Dream King represents not only the dreaming, but also reality itself. Daniel can leave if he ever wants, implying an escape from the burden of his role. But like Morpheus, the new dream doesn't want to, despite his daunting new responsibilities. Death wraps up the funeral, declaring that they should all tell stories of dreams to keep Morpheus's memory alive. Later, she checks in with Hob Gadling, wondering if he's finally ready to give up eternity after all he's witnessed. Hob replies that he has seen it all, but he believes there is still more to experience. He asks if it's truly okay to live for eternity, and Death, with her characteristic warmth, simply says yes. Inspired by the emotional speeches on change and acceptance, Johanna finally goes looking for Corinthian. He's surprised when she agrees to give it a shot, clearly moved by her reasoning that she doesn't want him to be alone. She also admits that every relationship of hers has been a nightmare, so she's genuinely not scared of him. And then, they kiss. A surprisingly tender moment between two very broken individuals, hinting at a new, perhaps healthier kind of nightmare for Constantine. Nuala and Matthew find themselves a bit lost, deciding to go wherever Lucienne goes, a sign of their continued loyalty to the heart of the dreaming. Rose then interrupts them, panicking because Lyda has gone missing. Lyda, driven by some lingering instinct, finally finds Daniel. In a raw confrontation, he expresses a desire to punish her for Morpheus's death and for being the catalyst for his own daunting new role. Lyda, however, powerfully argues that she did nothing, yet everything was taken from her. Daniel, showing incredible wisdom for his newness, realizes that life is more than their own choices, and that instead of playing the blame game, they should move on. They agree that they need each other and decide to meet in dreams. A beautiful resolution to their tumultuous relationship, moving from vengeance to understanding. Having eavesdropped on this entire exchange, Lucienne figures out that Daniel's inherent humanity will make a significant difference in his reign. She finally agrees to stay, and he immediately makes her the Dreaming's prime minister. A well-deserved promotion for Lucienne, and a clear signal of Daniel's compassionate leadership. Next, Daniel finds Hob, and they reminisce about Morpheus, acknowledging they never fully understood his actions, such as his mysterious gift to Shakespeare. Daniel admits he's nervous about meeting his new family, the other Endless. Hob, ever the steadfast friend, tells him that if he ever needs a drink or just a chat, they can meet every 100 years, just like he used to with Morpheus. A touching continuation of a very unique tradition. A flashback then shows Morpheus commissioning Shakespeare to write a tale with a graceful end about him. The result is The Tempest. However, Morpheus, in his old, rigid form, doesn't relate with the play's protagonist, Prospero, famously claiming he'll never change or leave his island. This flashback cleverly contrasts Morpheus's old stubbornness with the embrace of change that ultimately defined his end and Daniel's beginning. Finally, Daniel's fears are assuaged as the Endless warmly welcome him as their own. A collective sigh of relief for the new dream and the audience. In the post-credit scene, the Fates offer one last, chilling thought. They muse about how inevitable fate truly is, and how their function is never-ending. They read a fortune cookie, because why not, which claims that everything changes and can be replaced. It's a subtle but powerful hint that no being, endless or human, is truly permanent, and all are subject to the constant flow of change.